New backpacking trip today. I am at Castle Rock State Park in Santa Cruz Mountains, and I'm with my friend Brooke, and we're going to be taking a about 30-mile, 3-day backpacking trip from, it's called Skyline to Sea, and it's from the crest of the Santa Cruz Mountains down to the Pacific Ocean. So this is day one. It's about 9 miles. We just drove up from Southern California, so that's been our morning. And we are at the Trailhead, and we're heading about 9 miles to Waterman Gap. And here's a map. So this is where we are. We're going to be taking the Waterman Gap Trail all the way to the Travertine Springs Trail, and then we're actually going to be hooking up with the official Skyline to Sea Trail coming down to Waterman Gap Trail Camp right here. The Skyline to Sea Trail technically starts at Saratoga Gap, but there's no overnight parking, so that is why we are doing the Castle Rock alternative. But that's today. Should be about 9 miles, and we're going to be going down the mountain, through the redwoods, to the water, so it should be fun. Here we go, Saratoga Gap Trail. We're going to be skipping that campground, but starting nice and shaded in the woods. Okay, looks like we got a little side spur to an overlook, so we're going to take that. Just past a sign for a sheer cliff. So we're in the Skyline part of the Skyline to Sea Trail. Some nice, pretty views of the mountains. Been going through trees the whole time. Oh yeah, it is kind of a sheer cliff. And you can see there's a little water flowing too. We packed water to get to the campground that has potable water anyway. But yeah, nice pretty views. Nice sound of the water, and it's been shaded. It's been good so far. Okay, starting to get more views out across the mountains. It's really pretty. Trail's opened up a little bit. Still getting some shade, but kind of traversing right now and getting those skyline views. A little bit of boulders to climb over. Nothing too bad so far. Most of the ones we've crossed actually have this is a pretty sight right here, actually have moss on them. So still not too far into the trail. We're going to stop for lunch at the first trail camp, which is Castle Rock Trail Camp, and that's 2.5 miles in. Still on the trail. Got some nice layers in the mountains now. You can even see some of the taller ones way back there. But this is what the trail's been doing so far. Got some nice craggy rocks. Past some rock climbers too. And just traversing, and, and it's like hike, hike, hike. Look, look, look. And then hike, hike, hike. So I heard there was some scrambling on this trail. This might be it. Gotta pass this very narrow rock. There's a cable there too. But as you can see, coming down here is kind of a steep drop. So just gotta make our way up and over this. Most of the rocks we climbed over haven't been too bad, but that one gives me pause a little bit more. And we're still on the Skyline part of Skyline to Sea. We've hit the first trail camp along the way here, the Castle Rock Trail Camp. And all the trail camps require reservations. This is not the one we're staying at. We're going to keep going to the Waterman Gap Trail Camp, but we're going to stop here for lunch. You might be able to hear it. Yeah, there's a gunfire all around us. We're not under attack. There is a shooting range nearby. So going to stop, take a look at this trail camp, grab something to eat, and keep going. This is the inclement weather shelter at Castle Rock Trail Camp. It was kind of nice and unexpected. And further down here are the actual campsites, and there's pit toilets. So it's pretty nice. These sites have picnic benches, and there's even trash cans there that get serviced until November 1st. So pretty nice for a trail camp. We're just finishing up here and gonna keep going on our way. Okay, so there's a little confusion once you get to this part of the trail. This is where we came in to come to the trail camp. And there is this sign here that says, hikers encouraged to use Lowry Woods Trail to Skyline Trail. This gets you to Skyline Trail, but basically it takes you to Saratoga Gap, which seems like it's way out of the way. This sign over here has Saratoga Gap Trail as straight ahead here. And you can see that we can get to the Waterman Gap Trail Camp this way. So this one takes you pretty much to the highway in Saratoga Gap. This one looks like it takes us to the trail camp that we need to go. So that's what we're going to do. It looks like what we were supposed to do anyway. Yeah, we're not doing a whole bunch of extra miles today since we started at noon. Okay, so the trails in this section are actually really, really confusing. We've made a couple wrong turns already. So I suggest getting GPS, picking up the map from the trailhead, and kind of just, you know, looking to see, is it a big trail, is it a small trail? They differentiate between the different trails on the maps, and you have to read these signs very carefully because they are very confusing. So we just almost took a wrong turn again. Let me show you what this sign looks like. Okay, so it's this sign right here. We just came down from a creek over there. Actually filled up with some water because the last campsite, the water faucets were turned off because of some health issue. So, in very, 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 very tiny writing is Traverse Between Springs Trail. So, this is where we're going to go. We're going to go down, not up like we originally did before. A couple other hikers caught us and told us the correct way. So, hopefully we'll get to our trail camp before sunset. Yeah, just be really careful in this section. Back to the beautiful views of the mountains. We're a little bit further down in elevation. Came from like way up back there. But we're on the correct trail this time. And we're getting those fantastic views again. Oh, I like this sign. Actually says the Skyline is to Sea Trail this way. Well, kind of says it. It's a little jumbled. But this is a fire road that will take us to join up with the actual trail. We left the Travertine Springs Trail and took this old tow road. And this will take us to the official Skyline to Sea Trail that started at Saratoga Gap. And then it's just 2.5 miles to our trail camp. So we spent most of the day on the alternate route, but we're about to hit the real route. And it's gotten nice and shaded and green. Here it is, finally, Skyline to Sea Trail. We're gonna take it this way, and then now we got camp. So it's getting a little dark, but it kind of looks like we're hitting our first redwoods. We'll get into the nice old growth redwoods tomorrow, but starting to see a couple. And this is the official the official trail that we're on right now, right next to the road that you might be able to hear. It's going to parallel the road all the way until our trail camp. So we're still on the trail, still headed to the trail camp, but we came across something that I'd heard of. We are right next to a road, and that was a crash that happened several years ago. So there's X's on it to indicate that it's abandoned. But somebody drove off of this road right up here. And now we just came across another one. So apparently more than one person has driven themselves off that road. It's a better view of that second car. Hopefully those are the only two. I don't want to see this place littered with cars. It's scary. Waterman Gap Trail Camp. We made it. That's it for hiking today. Just need to set up camp and start dinner. Looks like a nice flat campsite. It's got a pit toilet and trash cans. Pretty cool. So now that we found this nice secluded campsite under the redwoods, away from the road, away from the pit toilet, that's it for today. That's day one. Day two is we're going to be leaving the Skyline behind and heading down into the old growth redwoods. So that should be fun tomorrow.